Have you ever felt lost? Have you ever felt as though you don't resonate in this world? That there's no way for you to be who you actually genuinely are? That's how I felt a lot of my life. And this last year, especially, that's really been the way I felt. So I decided that I wanted to create a space for people who felt that way and to be honest and to be true. And so I came up with this idea of Wild Hearted Woman, and it kind of became my mantra as I'm suffering with depression and PTSD. I would always remind myself that I'm a wild hearted woman. And it kind of became this idea of being wild and being free and being you, being authentically you. Because the idea that you don't resonate with this world, it just, even though it feels so real at the time, it's not. It's the biggest lie. This world needs every single one of us because we're all so different. And I think that's what makes it so special. Like, that's what makes me special, is there's only one Michelle around. There's only one of me that feels the way I do, that acts the way that I do, that does the things that I do for a living. And there's only one of you that does those same things. So I've lived for basically 29 years as this happy-go-lucky, everything, I had really hard times in my life, but I kind of would just let those come off and I wouldn't really process them. I was really good at putting on faces. Faces is kind of was my thing. I was able to act however anyone wanted me to act, like a chameleon basically, and I could be what you wanted for that moment. And I turned 29, and all of a sudden things in life kind of changed, and I lost some people that I really cared about. And in doing that, I broke. I no longer could put those faces on any longer. They weren't working. I was crying all the time, and what was even scarier were the days that I wasn't crying at all. I just felt numb. I felt like I didn't matter. I felt like if I stopped living in that moment, nobody would notice, nobody would care. I really didn't matter. And about a couple months after that, I tried to commit suicide. And I truly believed that I was making the best choice for myself and for the people that I cared about, that I was no longer going to be a burden for them. And I'm still there. There are still days where suicide seems like a great idea, seems like a great plan. I'm still dealing with depression every single day of my life right now. It is a continuous battle. It is something that I fight for every day right now. And as I talk to my friends openly and honestly for the first time, and I found out how many of them were struggling from depression, or I started sharing stories online of how I was feeling on my Instagram, and I realized that a lot of other people felt the same way I did, but there's such a stigma around mental illness that they weren't saying it. They weren't sharing it. They didn't feel like they had somewhere to come and to talk and say, hey, I feel that way too, and that sucks. So I thought, well, I want to do that. I want to be able to be the place that says it's okay to feel the way you're feeling. And I think a lot of us read books, and even on YouTube or on Instagram, we see these really motivational speakers, and they're wonderful and they're great. And they talk about depression as this past battle that is so far in their rearview mirror, and they're living their best life right now. And as great as that is, I know me personally, I couldn't relate to that because I'm not living my best life right now. I'm struggling just to live. There's days where it is an honest battle every single moment of the day. So I wanted to create a space that you got to experience that with me. You get to see the highs and you get to see the lows, and it's going to be a place to learn how to work through depression, how to live authentically, how to live to be a wild-hearted person, whether that's a woman or a man or whatever you are, but to be free and to be wild and to be you and just authentically you, authentically who you are. And that's gonna, I think, evolve as this channel evolves, and hopefully as I get happier, the channel gets happier. And when I have bad days, I want I want those days to be shown too, and to show you a little bit of my story. And I'm not going to go into too much of my story on this first video because I don't want it to be super long, but basically the short version is I was a victim of sexual abuse as a child, and I never dealt with it at that age. I didn't know how to. I buried it really, really deep. In my 20s, it surfaced, and it surfaced in a way that made me self-harm, and it made me put myself in situations where I hurt other people who I love very much. I used different things to become a band-aid for a wound that I didn't want to deal with, I didn't want to know, I didn't want to acknowledge was there. And then that all led me here. And I believe, I truly believe that there is a greater purpose in everything, and I believe there's a plan in everything that happens. And I believe that I was meant to go through everything I was meant to go through because I have a story to share, and because I'm able to hopefully be a light for somebody right now who is struggling to know that it does get better, that there have been amazing days even in the midst of this darkness. There have been days where I am smiling and I am laughing and I am loving life. And yeah, there are days where it sucks and it's hard and I'm struggling to get out of bed, but I know that those days are going to get better. And if you're watching this and you are in that spot where you can't find the light, I'm hoping that this video is just a little bit of light for you. Just a little bit that says, there's hope out there, there's someone who understands, and there's someone that's listening. So if you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and also comment down below if you have anything that you want to ask me, or just introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about you. I promise that I'll get back to you. But until next time, just remember to be wild, be free, be you. Just be authentically whoever you are. Lots of love.